We're going to talk about factoring polynomials in quadratic form. When something is in quadratic form, that means it's in like x squared plus 12x plus 6 in that form. Quadratic means squared. So when we're going to factor as far as we can on all of these, okay? So let's start with this. 16x to the fourth minus 81. First of all, take a look at this. What do you know about the number 16?
It's a perfect square.
What do you know about x to the fourth?
It's also a square.
Yes. And what do you know about 81?
It's also a perfect square.
And there's a minus sign, so what is this?
A difference of 2 squared.
So how do I factor that?
You would root, I guess you would do 4x squared.
Yeah, 4x squared.
Plus 9 minus 9.
Yes. And 4x squared minus 9. Now, we're not done. Here's why. Can this go any further? 4x squared plus 9.
Yes, again?
Time out. Plus 9.
No. That one. The other
Okay.
one.
This one cannot go further because it has a plus. But this here, is 4 a perfect square?
Yes.
Is x squared a perfect square?
Yes.
Is 9 a perfect square?
Yes.
And I have a minus, so I have a difference of squares. How does that factor?
2x.
2x minus 3 and
2x plus 3.
beautiful. Now you've factored it all the way.
That's easy.
I don't understand why the plus keeps us from going down farther.
Because, Drew, there's nothing I can do, because here's the deal. When it's a minus, what happens is when I factor this, yes,
Oh, okay.
it cancels the middle part out. When I factor this, it doesn't cancel out of the middle part.
It would just add.
Yeah, it would just add, so that's why it has to be a minus in order for it to be able to factor further when it's perfect squares on both ends, okay? How do I factor this? What do you want to start with by doing?
Taking out a 2p squared.
Taking out a 2p squared, I like that. So take out a 2p squared and I'm left with p to the what?
2 to the
2 to the 6.
I'm left with what? P to the what? P to the 6. Okay. P to the 6 plus 5, p to the what?
2 to the 3.
Yeah, to the third. Plus 6, yes?
Yes.
Okay, now I have to come here and see if this is factorable still. Can I multiply to give me 6 and add to give me 5?
Yes.
What?
Oh,
2 and 3? Okay, so you have p cubed plus 2 and p cubed plus 3. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This tells you what this is going to be broken down into. Okay? Because 6 is 3 and 3 added together. Okay? Now I factor that all the way. 2p squared, p cubed plus 2, p cubed plus 3. Okay. Look at the next one. What am I going to do for factoring this polynomial on the next one? What do you want to start with?
Take out 4t squared.
Okay, good. Take out 4t squared. So here I'm left with t to the what?
You're left with
To the fourth. Yes.
Fourth on that.
You subtract them. Here I'm left with what?
5t. 5t squared.
Good. And here I'm left with
6.
6.
So this.
Okay, so I need something that multiplies to give me 6, but adds to give me negative 5.
Same thing as last time.
Negative 2.
Yes, this time they're negative. So it's 4t squared. It's t squared minus 3, t squared minus 2. Can any of that stuff be factored further?
No.
No. Okay.
So with all of these, you want to make sure that you can take something out before you start.
If you can, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can take something out first. So the first thing I usually look for, if it's only 2, I look to see if they're perfect squares. or perfect trinomials, okay? If there's 3, I look, what can I take out first? And sometimes on 2, you have to take something out to get it to a perfect square. You know what I'm saying?
And then you go from there.
Yeah, and then you go from there. So always look and see what you can take out first.
So on the test, if you take off, if we left, like for a, 4x squared minus 9, if you take off, we left that.
You got to keep going.
Um,
So it's only partially correct.
so is this basically kind of like 23 from the homework last night? Because 23 had like 3.
Well, 23 you had to factor by grouping. It's not like this. Okay. We're going to talk about when it says what are the real number solutions. That means they want real answers. Okay? So we have to factor, we have to set those equal to 0, we have to solve. You get what I'm saying? Okay? So here it says 3x to the 5th plus 15x equals 18x to the 3rd. What do you think we should do first in order to solve this?
Subtract 18x.
Yes, we want to get everything on one side so it's set equal to 0. So you're going to subtract 18x cubed from both sides, which means you get 3x to the 5th minus 18x cubed plus 15x equals 0. Now what do you think we're going to do from there?
Take out a 3.
Take out a 3x.
X.
If I take out a 3x, what do I get here?
X.
X to the 4th. Good. If I take out a 3x from here, what do I get?
So you get negative 6x squared.
Negative 6x squared. And if I take a 3x from here, I get what?
5.
Beautiful. Now, I have to see if this is factorable more. Okay? Can I factor this more? Can something multiply to give me 5 but add to give me negative 6?
Yes.
What?
Negative 5 and negative 1.
Yes. And what goes here? X to what power?
X to the 2nd power.
Yep, and x to the 2nd. Okay? So now I have 3x. I have x squared minus 5. Is this factorable further?
No.
Is x squared minus 1
Yes.
factorable further?
Yes.
Yes. What is it?
It'd be x plus 1,
X plus 1, x minus 1, because it is a difference of squares. Now, is everything factored as far as it can go?
Yes.
Okay, so to get my real solutions, I set each piece
Oh,
equal to 0. So 3x equals 0, divide by 3, which means x equals
0.
x squared minus 5 equals 0. So I get x squared equals 5.
And then
Take the square root, and x equals plus or minus radical 5. I say x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals negative 1. X minus 1 equals 0. So x equals 1. Okay? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solutions. What was my power I started with?
You start with
A
the
fifth root.
Yes.
So I should have 5 answers.
Okay, because
1,
the plus or minus.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
the plus or
shoot,
minus.
plus or
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Whatever power you start with, that's
Wait, so
how
is
many
there ever
answers
going to
you
be a
have.
time where you aren't going to have 5 solutions?
Yeah. Okay, yes. Let me explain. So if I have a fifth root, I'm going to have 5 solutions. But sometimes my solutions can repeat, like it could be the same factor. So I could get, let's say instead of saying x minus 1, x equals 1 and x equals negative 1, let's say they both said x equals 1. Okay? Technically I only have 4 solutions that way, but it was just that it was factored twice. It repeated. So when you get repeated solutions, it's not going to show as that number.
Okay.
But you should have enough repeated solutions that equal that number. Does that make
So
sense?
it's still going to be 5.
Yeah.
But the 2 might be repeated.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's how I know how many solutions I should have.
And then for the plus or minus, they both count as one solution.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have 0, I have plus radical 5, minus radical 5, I have negative 1, and I have positive 1. All are possible solutions. Okay? Now, how do I go about solving 2x to the 5th plus 24x minus or equals 14x cubed?
Subtract 14x cubed.
Yes. Start by subtracting 14x cubed. So, once again, I get 2x to the 5th minus 14x cubed plus 24x equals 0. Okay, so anytime anything has an equal sign, that's when I have to get the solutions. You're factoring when there's not an equal sign. Okay, so what am I doing here?
Take out a 2x.
Taking out a 2x, and what am I left with here? X to the 4th, what am I left with here?
Negative x squared.
Negative,
14x
not 14,
squared.
7x squared. And what am I left with here?
12.
Yes. Now, is there anything that multiplies to give me 12 and adds to give me negative 7?
Negative 4, negative 3.
Negative 4, negative 3. And so I should have x squared minus 4, and I should have x squared minus 3. Am I done?
No.
Why not?
Because 4 is negative
Yes, difference of
2 squared.
2 squares. So what does that factor out to be?
X plus 2 x plus
And then I have x squared minus 3 equals 0. So I set each of these equal to 0 and solve. X equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Minus 2.
So, whenever you do the x, it's always going to end up being 0.
Yeah. Anytime it's just like an x and a number, it's always going to equal 0. Mm-hmm.
Also, if you always have x squared in your source or in your
You're going to get a plus or minus.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So x squared equals 3, which means x equals plus or minus radical 3. Okay, I have 2, 3, 4, 5. How
So
many?
what if it was like? Never mind.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
the x squared and 3 is one answer. Like
What are you talking
with
about?
the radical sign of
No, it's
There's
2.
two.
It's
It's
positive
plus
radical
radical
3,
three.
a minus
Oh,
radical
so
3.
that counts as 2. Alright.
Yep.
And then it's
But you have to show me the plus and minus, or else it doesn't count for you as being both. Okay? Because when you take a radical and you take a square, there's always 2 possible
there were 5
answers.
answers, and I was like, I only see 4.
I did too until she.
Yeah, I was like,
Once you explained
what?
it, I see why this one.
Yep. Okay, you have to put plus or minus for me on your homework and test too. Okay. Last one. Let's practice one more. What am I going to do?
Add 6x.
Okay.
Cube.
Add
Oh,
6x to the 4th.
Why do you say cube?
So this is 4, 3, 2. So I'm going to say 6x to the 4th.
Why do you say cube?
Minus 27x cubed plus 15x squared equals 0. Okay, can I factor anything out of it?
You take a 3. Well,
Does 3 go into 27? Think about it.
yes.
Yes, okay. So I can take a 3 what?
3x squared.
3x squared. 3x squared, meaning this becomes what? 2x squared. What does this become?
Minus 9
Minus 9x, and this becomes
plus 5.
beautiful. Is there something that multiplies to give me 5 and adds to give me negative 9?
No.
No, okay, so here's the tricky part. They want real answers on this, yes? What am I going to have to do if it's not factorable?
Aren't you gonna have to
Take something else.
Miss
out.
McCain sang a song to you about it. What are we dealing with?
Don't you even have to?
What are we dealing with when it says squares?
Oh.
Oh, are we grouping them?
Are you
No,
making it quadratic?
no grouping. There's not 4.
You
What?
have to make it quadratic.
Quadratic what?
Formula?
Yeah. What's the quadratic formula?
The
Opposite.
opposite. The other B of B plus or
Plus or
minus
minus.
radical
B squared minus 4
4ac
all over.
2a.
So when it
Dang.
is not factorable and it is set equal to 0, you have to use the quadratic formula. Okay.
Did you get a song about that?
Yeah, it's like
I
She
don't
did?
remember.
I
to
don't
Pop
remember
Goes
that.
the Weasel, I think. Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. So we have to plug this in. B is this, yes?
Yes.
Opposite of negative 9 is
Nine.
9 plus or minus the square root of negative 9 squared minus 4. My A is 2. My C is 5 all over 2A. So I get 9 plus or minus the square root of 81. What's 4 times 5?
Negative 4.
And then negative 20 times 2
Negative 40.
over 4. So then I get 9 plus or minus. What is 81 minus 40?
30.
That's 21. No,
No, it should be 41,
41.
right? 41 does not have a square, correct?
No.
Over 4. Okay.
Oh.
Now, Cole, here's where that question comes in. How many possible solutions am I supposed to have?
4.
Okay, listen, this is 2. 9 plus radical 41 divided by 4. 9 minus radical 41 divided by 4. 2 solutions. So I right now have 2 solutions. Okay? Don't forget that I had this out here.
So then you would do 3x squared.
3x squared equals 0. Divide by 3, right?
Yes.
X squared equals 0. Take the square root of that and x equals.
0.
Now listen. This is where my other 2 solutions are. Because this was a squared, I have 2 zeros that are repeating.
Oh. That makes sense.
Okay? Like 0 is my solution once or twice. I don't have to.
Wait, but it's 3. But you,
Look, I account for all of them. This was a squared when I did this, yes? Okay? So I have 2 answers. One that's a positive here and one that's a minus here. Here, this is a squared when I set it equal to 0. So technically that's where my other 2 answers are. Even though it only looks like I wrote,
oh, yeah.
3
Okay.
is technically.
yes.
Oh,
Okay?
Yeah,
So that's
I
where
got it.
you can't get confused, okay? That's what I'm talking about. So if it is not factorable, you have to use quadratic formula, which will automatically give you 2 answers because of this plus or minus right here.
And even though there's 3, so whenever you get the, let's say it was like a 4
Yeah, if
squared
it said
or
4x squared,
you're going to get 2
Right.
zeros.
if it says 4x cubed, that's 3 zeros.
And then you'll have 5.
Okay.
You'll have 5.
Yeah. Okay.
It's confusing.
I
Now,
got it. I got it.
If this can be worked out, like if this had, let's say this said 36 here, I would do 9 plus 6 divided by 4, and I would do 9 minus 6 divided by 4.
Okay.
But because it's not a perfect square, we can just leave it like that. Okay? So that is what you are working on for the rest of this lesson.